Okay, now hopefully, just messed around with the settings a little bit, hoping this works now. Welcome back. This is episode 3 of 17 going on 30. We have changed the setup a little bit. We're at a desk with a microphone and a proper light, and a decent camera quality. I'm very excited. This whole podcast is changing, and it's changing quickly, so I'm very, very happy. First of all, I know we normally release on Fridays, and I know it's only been 2 weeks, so first things first, apologies that this is an entire day late. We've had an incredibly busy week. It has been like one thing after another this week, honestly. It is literally never ending, but we're here now and we are absolutely 110% ready and raring to go. Oh my god, so I know earlier on in the week I said that we were going to have a special guest on today's podcast, but things fell through, so that wasn't able to happen this week. But fingers crossed, next week we will have a special guest, so look out for that. Oh, okay, so we're going to be talking about essentially how this week has been to begin with, and then I want to delve into sort of motorsports, how that's really like become a big part of my life. Earlier on we had the camera angle set up so you could see my brand new McLaren portrait that I put up today by myself. I got trusted with power drills. Not sure if that was a good idea, but it worked out fine, so we're good. And then later on in the podcast we're going to be talking about some mental health. I was nominated to do the Ice Bucket Challenge earlier on this week, so that's kind of why I want to talk about more about mental health and where that's come from. I have got my laptop behind me today, hoping that it lasts the entire podcast. Normally it only lasts about 10 minutes. My laptop is literally on its last legs. So, let's get straight into it. This is my last week of college. That was it. I'm done. I have my exams now. I have 2 next week, one the week after that, one the week after that, another the week after that, and then I'm done. But it's gone by so quickly. And I was in town with my friend today, and I was like, I can't believe I'm done. Like, where the fuck is that time gone? That's actually insane. So loads of revision upcoming, loads of working on things, making sure that I'm 110% where I need to be before the exams, which is actually insane. I do have my drink with me this evening, so trying to keep as hydrated as possible, which is something I've struggled with in previous episodes. Also, I'm going to be sewing whilst I'm talking to you. I had this bag with me today when I was in town, and it ripped. The entire handle ripped off as I was on the bus home, which was, mildly inconvenient, but I don't throw things away, so I'm going to be repairing that instead of just throwing it away. So we're gonna give it a go. Yeah, it's been a stressful week. It's been you all have one of those weeks where it's just like, it just drags on. Although it hasn't dragged on. We had bank holiday Monday, and then just like, I think waiting for things makes the week feel slower, but also doesn't at the same time, if that makes sense. It's also not a race week as well, which is frustrating because it means then the week seems to go by even slower. Yeah. I don't know. I said I was going to talk about this week, but not really. It's been although it's been a stressful week and it's been a long week, it's been rather uneventful, to be perfectly honest. So that was rather pointless me saying that. Yeah, so we'll dive straight into the motorsport side of things. So, motorsport has been a huge part of my family for a very long time. My mum's side of the family was, I think, what really got me into it in the first place. My mum's dad, my Tadki, used to love motorsport before he died. I mean, it's not going to be whilst he was dead, is it? I'm really not with it today. He used to love it, and then my aunt and my uncle, and my mum, and then my nana all got me into it, really. Since I was really, really young, we used to go up to Thruxton Race Circuit, and we used to watch all sorts. British touring cars, British superbikes, caravan racing, truck racing. Oh, truck racing was good. We were there a couple years it was either like 2 years ago, 2022 maybe? I'm not sure when it was, but we saw a huge truck crash, literally just around the corner from where we sit, and I was like, that's crazy. It's on YouTube. I remember watching it afterwards, being like, oh my god, we were there. I got really bad sunburn that day. That was also an eventful day. Days aren't really normal around here, that's for sure. So yeah, I suppose that's always been that kind of thing. And then we used to camp at Thruxton Race Circuit to watch the races. And I mean, I know my parents did it before Jacob and I were even born. They used to go down and watch British Superbikes all the time. When I was younger, I think it might have been like 2018, maybe earlier, I met Tommy Bridewell. It was a day for me. I remember that day very well. I met Jake Dixon as well. And I remember him, he was like sat on his bike ready to go out to do the race. And I had this photograph of him and I was like, can you sign it please? He's like, yeah, have you got a pen? I gave him a pen and the pen didn't work. So that was a really embarrassing moment for me. I have a selfie of me and Tommy Bridewell on my phone somewhere. Tommy Bridewell then became my mum's favourite motorsport, or my mum's favourite British Superbikes racing driver. And then I got a photo with him before she did. That'll forever be my favourite moment. And then my mum saw him last year at Brands Hatch, I think it was. And she got a photo with him. Might have been the year before, actually. I'm not sure. But my mum now has that photo portraited in her room. She's a massive Tommy Bridewell fan. I can also remember my uncle and I and my little brother, we were walking around the track. It was late in the evening. We'd done, because we were camping, we used to do track walks and things like that all the time. Late in the evening, there's my laptop doing funny things already. We've not even started. And Glenn Irwin was with his team in front of us. And my uncle turned to me and my brother and was like, that's Glenn Irwin. I was like, oh, no way. He was like, yeah, that's Glenn Irwin. You can, you've got your phone on him. And I had like this iPhone 5S at the time. Because I was a child. I didn't need a phone any larger than that. And he's like, go ask for his photo. I was like, nope, not asking for his photo. He said, no, go ask for his photo. I was like, absolutely not. So my uncle did it for us. He was like, hey, my niece and nephew want a photo with you. Would you, have you got a couple of seconds just to take the photo? He's like, yeah, just give me 5 minutes to talk to my team and then I'll be with you. I can remember him walking back over to us and me turning to my uncle and be like, I really don't like you right now. And he goes, you'll thank me in the future. And I am thanking you. So thank you very much, Gaga. I do appreciate that. I look back on that photo with fond memories. I do regret younger me though, because 2018 me thought it was a great idea to edit that photo and put a filter over the top of it. I now can't get rid of that filter. I can't for the life of me figure out how to get rid of it. Not great. So yeah, we used to watch British Superbikes all the time. I have a pink t-shirt with BSB down the centre. I don't wear it anymore, it doesn't fit me, which is sad. So BSB was my first love before I became really into Formula One. BSB was my first love. Although saying that, when we used to do these camping weekends at BSB, my uncle, we always used to go in the caravan. So we'd go in our caravan, our uncle, I think he had his caravan at this point, I don't really remember. I was a child, in my defence. But we always used to have like flagpoles, and we'd have various different flags up on them. And being the military family that we are, we'd always have either an Armed Forces Day one, an RAF roundel, or something along those lines. And I can remember he had a Jensen Button flag. And I was like, oh my god, it's Jensen Button. So Jensen Button was my first Formula One, essentially kind of introduction. It was like my first F1 love. Way before I even really watched it that much. I think it was also Valentino Rossi is another one of that side of the family's like favourite races. They have, at my nana's house, they have like a portrait of, like right above my nana's sofa, there's a photo of some bikers. I can't remember who they are off the top of my head. And she'll be watching this and telling me off for not remembering who they are, because, oops, sorry. But yeah, that side of the family is what really got me into it in the first place. And then there was a point at which me and my brother and my mum and my dad, we'd always used to go round on the weekends. And when we would go round, they'd always have some kind of race on. And it was, usually the Formula One. And sometimes it wouldn't even be a race weekend. They'd just have the highlights on. And my earliest memories are of sitting with my nana or with my tadki going, "Who's RIC?" And they go, that's Daniel Ricciardo. I was like, "Who's Daniel Ricciardo?" And they'd explain. I think this was the days when he was still in Red Bull. So like very, very early on, especially for me, for my lifetime and my memory. So this was, my earliest memories of Formula One, is sitting down and watching them. And then before then, I can remember the Chain by Fleetwood Mac. My nana, when it used to come on, she would go, "Did you know this was the theme tune for Formula One for years?" And I'd be like, "Didn't know that, but I do now." And now every time I think of that song, I think of my nana. So although I do still associate it with Formula One, I associate it with my nana too. But yeah, they've always been, pretty hardcore Ferrari fans. Always supporting that kind of side of the Formula One scene. I then grew into, I am a hardcore at heart Italian Ferrari fan, although I am not Italian in any way, shape or form. I am part Welsh. Oh no, I've unthreaded my needle. Okay, we're back. Just re-threaded the needle now because that took me far longer than it needed to. I just dropped it. It did not go well. Yeah, so I suppose those are my earliest memories of Formula One. Recent years, obviously followed Formula One more closely. Just coming out of lockdown, I started to watch it more and more. And then beginning of last year, no, not last year, the year before last, so beginning of 2022, that was when I was like, yeah, I started watching every race and was like, no, I am not missing a race. 2023 was the same, and then this year's been the same, where I've watched every race. I am and will forever be a Daniel Ricciardo fan now. Heartbreak last year, absolute heartbreak. I was having a really hard day when they announced that Daniel Ricciardo was being kicked from his seat. It was day one of my period, so my cramps were like skyrocketing through the roof. Someone close to me was about to go away for a couple weeks, and I saw them like 2 or 3 times a week, and I was like, oh my god, okay, so I'm not going to see them for a while. And my body was just like, no, you're not having this. And then I got the notification through. I was like, oh, brilliant, okay, cool. So my entire Formula One world has just come to an end. And then I had cadets that night as well, and I still went, and I was like, brilliant. At the time, I didn't own much McLaren merch. I had a t-shirt that I've gotten off of Vintage, which says McLaren Racing in papaya, of course, across the front, which I only got for like £3. That was an absolute bargain find. And then around the same time, it would have been mid-October, I was struggling with my health quite a bit, and I needed so in order for something to happen, I needed to make a phone call to the doctors, and I was so scared about making that phone call to the doctors that a good friend of mine was like, look, here's the deal, you make that phone call and you can have a Daniel Ricciardo shirt. I will buy you a Daniel Ricciardo shirt. And they did. So the shirt that I've coincidentally worn the first 2 episodes of the podcast is that shirt. And I love that shirt. I love it too much. I wear it all the time. And then my best friend Maisie, who appeared on last week's episode, she got me a Daniel Ricciardo baseball cap, which is bright orange and it has the 3 on the front. I'm start looking at it. It's not like I'm looking into nothing. It is like over there. It's very unlike me to go out the house without wearing a Daniel Ricciardo. I'm losing my mind. It's very unlike me to go out the house without wearing a baseball cap. love my baseball caps far too much. But yeah, I'm now very much indoctrinated into the idea of Formula One. As I said, always been a part of it. Last 4 years, 5 years, has become more and more part of my life. It's now a career aspiration. So a couple years ago, well, no, I've always loved photography. Photography's always has been the thing I've like a hobby to fall back on. I did it at GCSE. I've done it at A level. And then a couple years ago, I was like, well, I need to start thinking about what I want to do with my life anyway. And it was never going to be something simple because Lord knows I am not a normal person. I was told today that I'm mental, and unfortunately, the person that said it is 100% right. So we're gonna move on from that. Yeah, so I decided that I'd like a career in motorsport, in Formula One photography, in motorsport photography, and then we've been going down to Thruxton and taking as many photos on the 3 days out that they can do. I've taken some pretty good ones over the past couple years, and then the dream is to just keep going with it, and then I'll make it. Gotta have hope, you gotta have faith. I mean, travelling the absolute world and going to the back of beyond, but you know what? So what? If you want something bad enough to work at it, then you just gotta go for it and do it. I have a friend who, yeah, I'm just gonna leave that one there. But Formula One is a very, very big part of my life now. We did presentations a few weeks ago. It was like a month and a bit ago now on a camp that we did. And I'd had this presentation planned for months. I did it last June on a cadet course I did. And then I've kept it and then like kept changing it every so often, like just in the case that I need to rush panic, something falls through on a night, they need me to do something, I'm like, great, I'll do an interest talk on Formula One, because why not? And I kept this PowerPoint. I was like, the likeliness of me ever needing to use it again was becoming more and more slim. But then camp, they were like, we have half an hour to fill if you want to do your presentation. I was like, absolutely, I do. So I taught a room full of cadets about Formula One. Much to my dismay, half of them still decided that they were not interested, which was abysmal. However, I have a bet with one of the cadets. And my mother even approved on this one, which, you know, thanks very much. If Sauber win the Constructors' Championships, then I have to dye my hair blue for 2 weeks. So, Gabriel Bortoletto, Nico Hulkenberg, as much as you two are incredible racing drivers, please, 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 please do not win the Constructors. I do not want to dye my hair blue this year. I love my hair as it is, thank you very much. Although we cut it recently, so it's a bit shorter, and I'm loving it. Although we have got it pushed back today with a headband, which is a nice change. Yeah, that's Formula One, I suppose. I love it. Although I am a McLaren fan, I'm a massive Daniel Ricciardo fan. My loyalties have stayed with McLaren. I am a Lando Norris fan. I'm very, very much part of the LN4 community. I do love Oscar Piastri as well. My nana's favourite racing driver is Lewis Hamilton. She loves Lewis Hamilton. My dad's favourite is George Russell. He's been saying to me every time I put the race on, he's like, just you wait. A couple of years, George Russell is going to be the one to watch. He's like, Dad, he already is the one to watch. He's like, no, trust me, he's going to be the one to watch. He's going to do incredibly. I'm like, Dad, that's not a new thing. But he loves to prove me wrong. So he loves George Russell to absolute pieces. My mum's on my side. She loves Lando Norris as well. They're part of the Tifosi. She also loves Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz as well. We love you. We watched you go from Ferrari to Williams. Yes. So, we're about 3/4 of the way through now. I just looked at the timing and how long I've been recording for. I was like, we've only covered one of the topics I wanted to talk about tonight. The other thing I wanted to talk to you briefly about was mental health. So, I don't know if you've been seeing the rounds again, that the Ice Bucket Challenge has made its way back. So the Ice Bucket Challenge was for USC Minds. They stand for a really good cause to try and spread awareness around mental health, and although over the years it's become more of a thing that people talk about, it's still not talked about enough. Now, mental health is subjective. It's not, when people say, oh, they've got mental health, everybody has a mental health, whether that's a good mental health or a bad mental health, or sometimes you can just be sitting in the middle. A lot of the time I sit in the middle. Most of the sometimes I go on the down end, sometimes I go on the good end. Everybody struggles or everybody can struggle at some point in their life with mental health. Let's not knock the microphone. And doing the Ice Bucket Challenge is a great way to be spreading awareness about mental health. And although it is a lot more of a talked about subject now than it was even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it's still not talked about enough. There are some incredibly... I can't talk tonight. This is a really bad time for me to not be able to talk. There are some incredible charities out there that will help all times of the night if you need help. So Kooth, I found, is an incredibly useful one. Young Minds, they are incredible as well. There's some incredible apps as well that are really helpful. So if you are struggling with certain aspects of a bad mental health, apps like I Am Sober, they are an incredible reminder to keep pushing forward, to keep going every day and to not give up. You can use that to pledge and go, yes, I will do this today. I will have a good day. And it's an incredible way to keep going. Calm is another one. They post questions on that. It's like a community talk space. And there's loads of different places out there that you can talk to. So if you are struggling with your mental health, don't feel like you need to shut down and stop talking about it. The more you talk about it, the quicker it's going to get resolved, and that's the thing you need to focus on. No matter what, you have someone around that will listen. Whether that's a trusted adult or a friend, or someone at school or college or cadets or your hobby or literally wherever, someone is around to talk. And that's the thing that you've got to take away from that. Don't bottle it up. Trust me, I know people who just, instead of trying to deal with their emotions, they just shut down and they don't talk about it, and then they'll leave it until it's at its absolute worst, and then they'll go, I fucked up, I need help. Don't let it get to that point. As soon as you start to notice something going wrong, or as soon as you start to notice that something's not quite right, speak up, get some help. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. Asking for help, there's nothing wrong with that. It's like a physical injury. You don't expect a physical injury to get better without a plaster or without some medicine to help you get better. Mental health is the same. Therapy and counselling also, they aren't bad things. I know that there is a lot of people who see going to therapy and going to counselling as bad things, but it's not. It's like refreshing your mind. Everyone needs therapy or counselling at some point in their life, just to sit and talk about everything that's going on. Just someone to sit and listen and go, yeah, I am struggling at the moment. Yeah, I do have a lot going on. No, I really don't know how to handle it. And they will give you some amazing solutions and some amazing suggestions to try and get you through that. I've done counselling quite a few times, and honestly, it's been such a great help to me and to so many other people that I know. None of this has come from, anywhere. It's just doing the Ice Bucket Challenge yesterday, and then obviously USC Minds. It's all come out recently about mental health, and it would be a great opportunity to talk about it. If any of you have any questions about mental health, if any of you are struggling and if you want to talk, I message me on any of my accounts and I can send you the directions of different links, different apps to go to talk to. Samaritans as well, they have a hotline which I think is open pretty much all the time, so you can call and they can talk to you. But never let yourself get to the point where you feel like you have no one there, because you will always have someone there to listen to and talk to. That's something which I've learned very recently. Even if you feel like you have no one, there is always someone that's out there that's willing to listen to you. Even if you don't think you guys are as close as you were, trust me, there is always someone out there to listen to you and to talk about whatever's going on. For the people pleasers out there who like to listen to people's problems and think, what can you do to fix it? Do not feel like you need to fix it. I have this thing with one of my close friends where I know very well that they are a people pleaser, or very much a fix-it type of person. So if I've had a bad day, or if I've had a day where I just need to talk about it, and I'll say, can you talk? And they'll go, I can text, what's going on? And I'll say comfort or solutions. So whether or not I want advice and I want a way to fix it, or if I just want comforting and I just want someone to say, it's all going to be okay, I'm here for you. If you want the shoulder to cry on, we can go for coffee. Comfort solutions, it works really, really well. I started doing it with a couple of my other friends as well, and it works out quite nicely. And I'm not saying that that's something that you should do, but it is an option. So never feel like you're alone, because there is always someone out there to help. I have talked at you now for 25 minutes. So I think you've heard enough of my voice for this evening. Tune in next week for episode 4. We will potentially have another guest on. And I hope you enjoyed. Reminder, we are on all social medias. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube with the @17 going on 30. I've been Emily. It's been lovely chatting to you all this evening, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week. I'll catch you next week.